Mike Moore Media.
I'm talking to Rodney Cates, Director of Rockingham County Emergency Services 911. Rodney, always good to have you on the program. It's been a busy time on the fire side of things, hasn't it?
It certainly has, Mike, and good morning. Good to talk to you all, too. But, yes, the fire side has been very busy for us and our neighbors in adjoining counties. It's been busy, so we've seen on the news certainly a dangerous time from the fire perspective.
Yeah. Well, there have been a lot of fires all over Rockingham County, and, of course, the attention right now seems to be right there at Pilot Mountain. And I'm wondering, have any of our people been asked to go to that fire at this time?
They have not as of yet. Typically, those requests come from North Carolina Emergency Management, and we actually had a staff meeting yesterday morning at 9:30, as we do every Tuesday. But we discussed that in our staff meeting, and there's been no request at this time. I have approved our people to go. Should they make the request, I didn't want to delay the process should they need any assistance from Rockingham County. So we do have some resources ready to deploy and some personnel ready to deploy should they make that request. But at this time, no request have been made for additional resources.
Okay. So planning ahead like you do, and that's already in place if needed. Speaking of planning ahead, we've talked about things like this before, and we can never emphasize this too much, the holiday season and all of that, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the burn ban that's now in effect here in Rockingham County and statewide that has been issued too. So bring us up to date on that, Rodney.
Well, Monday afternoon at 5 p.m., the North Carolina Forestry Service put in a statewide burn ban, made it effective Monday afternoon at 5, which prohibits burning leaves, debris, any type of outside burning is prohibited unless it's for a cooking purpose. Things of that nature are prohibited, grills, but you're still strongly encouraged to exercise caution when using those. In addition to that, the North Carolina Forestry Service requested the county fire marshals across the state to further emphasize an additional burn ban, because the Forestry Service, their burn ban does not cover that area of 100 feet up to an occupied dwelling. Mm-hmm. So that still leaves, an area 100 feet from a dwelling that one could burn leaves or whatever. So their jurisdiction doesn't cover that. So they came back and asked the local fire marshals in every county, or the counties that are impacted, to do a countywide burn ban that is the authority of the Rockingham County Fire Marshal for us, that then prohibits the burning of any type of vegetation, leaves, any yard debris, things of that nature within the 100 foot. So technically, through the burn ban that the North Carolina Forestry Service has implemented and the burn ban that the Rockingham County Fire Marshal has implemented, any outside burning, absent of some type of cooking situation, is prohibited at this time.
Okay. Yeah, and that covers a lot, doesn't it?
It does. It's very dry. We've had these breezy conditions, very low humidity. So the recipe for fires, rapidly spreading fires, of which we have seen over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have had multiple outside fires. Mm-hmm. Reidsville had the situation the other day with the apartment fire that potentially was spawned outside in a mulch pile outside of that apartment complex. And we've had multiple fires like that. So it's a very, very dangerous time. These breezy conditions and dry conditions, those fires spread very rapidly. And they can engulf properties and dwellings and certainly be dangerous to everyone. So it's very, very important that people abide by these burn bans. And there are some legal restrictions that go along with it. It's a $100 fine if you are caught setting a fire outside. And in addition to that $100, one is also charged a $183 court cost. Mm-hmm. So a violation for that is a $283 cost. So certainly we want we don't want to cost somebody $283 during the holiday season, but yet we don't want to have resources extinguishing fires that should have never been set to start with.
Yeah. And looking at that news release that's come out here in the county, persons responsible for setting a fire may be liable for any expenses related to extinguishing the fire. People don't realize the expense in sending out that equipment and the people and the all of that, do they?
No, they don't. And it's, the cost of that equipment is astronomical. So paying back the federal government sets hourly rates of what this equipment can be, what can be charged for the use of this equipment, and that's the fee charge that would be assessed to one if they're charged with the extinguishing of the fire. So those hourly rates are well up into hundreds of dollars per hour per apparatus. So one could certainly tie up a very, very large sum of money if they're charged with extinguishing the fire as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that apartment fire in Reedsville the other day. Yes, that was discarded smoking materials there in the mulch flower bed around the building. And, people get careless and they flick a cigarette out the window driving down the highway. And, in these conditions, that's dangerous.
It is. And, these conditions just accelerate that fire so rapidly. And then the breezy conditions that we've had, add the air source to it, and it's unbelievable how quickly that can spread and what can be engulfed in that fire, just like does the apartment building. The siding went up, and then it gets up in the attic, and certainly, people are then displaced from their homes during this holiday season.
Yeah, at least a dozen people in that situation. And thanks to the American Red Cross for always being there and taking care of those people, too. Part of this burn ban that we have here in the county involves luminaries. Tell us about that, Rodney.
Yes, the luminaries that are used for the holiday seasons, the candles, I think people put sand in the bottom of the paper bags, those are prohibited at this time. Because if that candle burns through the bag or sets the bag on fire, then sets the leaves on fire, we're back in the same situation. So granted, those are beautiful Christmas decorations and certainly utilized this time of year, but during the burn ban, those are prohibited at this time. So we would, strongly encourage people again to abide by the burn ban to not create a further problem for us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mentioned a little bit ago about planning ahead, and we've talked about this before on multiple programs, but we can't emphasize it enough, especially when we're getting into this time of the year and extension cords and things that we should have. Make sure we have some common sense on this. Can we go over some of those safety tips again, Rodney?
Yeah, we can. Certainly the Christmas trees in the house, the live trees, they dry out quickly. Make sure you have the stand which can hold the water at the bottom so that the tree can absorb the water to keep it as moist as we can during this holiday season. And there's much literature out about how to keep a tree from drying out, because those dry trees, again, it's crazy how fast they can go up and the amount of fire that they can produce. The drop cords that people plug in, multiple types of decorations, make sure that drop cord is sufficient to handle that electrical load. If we plug in too many things to a drop cord that is not sufficient for the load that we have plugged into it, that drop cord overheats, they melt, they can set wrapping paper on fire, they can set those dry trees on fire. If they're outside, they can set the mulch on fire. So make sure those drop cords are rated for the use that one has them intended for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's please be careful all year long, but especially this time of the year, folks. All right. Well, always some good information there. Rodney, anything else we need to mention today?
No. I mean, it's a lot going on, and we can watch the news and we can watch what's going on at Pilot Mountain and over in Surrey County at Sourtown Mountain, or in Stokes County. We can watch these things on the news, and it further verifies why we need these burn bans and why we need to abide by the ramifications in these burn bans. We are just as susceptible in Rockingham County as anybody is to have these types of fires. So these procedures at this time are very important during this holiday season or any time. So we just ask people to certainly abide by that and protect themselves, protect their neighbors, and protect our responders, because that's who's going to have to come out and extinguish these fires, and we want them to be safe during this holiday as well.
Sure, yeah. I've been on a couple of those fire calls recently, the church here in Eden and a house in Madison last week, and I certainly appreciate all of our fire stations. How many fire departments do we have around the county, Rodney?
We have 19 within the county. 2 of those are the municipal departments of Reidsville and Eden within those 19, and we have 5 additional out-of-county fire departments that have primary response area within Rockingham County. So all total, we have 24 fire departments that respond within Rockingham County.
Mm-hmm. I certainly appreciate everyone that's there and their training and their dedication and being up in the middle of the night and all of the things they do. So thanks to them for sure. And thanks to you, Rodney. It's always good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Mike, and hope you have a great holiday season.
All the best to you and your crew as well. And we'll talk again, I guess, in the new year.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay. That's Rodney Cates. He is Director of Rockingham County Emergency Services 911 here in the county. And yes, our recognition and thanks to all of those folks involved in all of those services here in the county. You can get more information on the county website at myrockinghamcountync.com, and bringing a little bit closer to home there, Facebook, Rockingham County Emergency Services.